It is supposed to be a season of goodwill and celebrating, a time to relax with family. For most of us, it's a time to have fun, eat turkey, and enjoy a mulled wine or two. However, for some people, Christmas can be a time of great strain. Financial pressures, loneliness, or simply a lot of time with relatives where mulled tensions can come to the fore. And sometimes these tensions can explode with devastation results that see spurned spouses turned to murder or brutally exerted on the innocent. From using Star Wars code to plot a murder, to wiping out whole families with flamethrowers, some horrifying killings and gruesome crime scenes have been committed at Christmas. Today, we would like to look at 12 horrific killings which took place as tensions exploded during the festive season. Welcome back to Tavern Crime Chronicles. We explore strange, mysterious, chilling, and unsolved cases. If you have the nerve for fascinating stories, this is your channel. A murder plot hashed in Star Wars code. Brothers David and Roger Cooper plotted to poison a woman in a series of Star Wars-inspired coded texts. Roger was having an affair with Samina Mom, but he was desperate for Samina, one of three of his lovers, not to reveal what was going on to his wife. So, the only option was to kill her. After a month of planning and messages exchanged in code, the brothers plotted to kill Samina. When she arrived at David's home in Leicester on Christmas Eve looking for Roger, David decided to smother her with a rag soaked with chloroform. Her body was found buried in woodland. 2. Axe attack, then off to eat turkey with the children. Enraged by an apparent argument with his wife, Justin Lee Klopp hacked his wife to death on Christmas Day. He reportedly punched her in the face, then used an axe to cut her throat and slice open her head at around 10 p.m. Klopp had been married to Stephanie Kilhifner for 3 years when he turned to murder, and after the brutal slaughter, he wrapped her body in a bag, put it in an outbuilding, and took their 2 children to his parents to celebrate Christmas. The children, aged 5 and 2, were marking the holiday with his parents when he phoned police to confess to the killing. He later hanged himself in prison. 3. A rampaging Santa armed with a flamethrower. Bruce Pardo, 45, killed 9 people including his ex-wife after going on the rampage dressed as Santa Claus with 4 handguns and a flamethrower at a Christmas Eve party. A recording of a woman caught in a conflict calling police revealed her saying, "He's shooting my whole family. My mom's house is on fire." She goes on, "We need someone immediately. My daughter's been shot." She was shot in the face. Former aerospace engineer Pardo had recently gone through a bitter divorce with ex-wife Sylvia, 43, who died alongside her parents and 3 of her 4 siblings. He later shot himself dead. 4. The mystery of JonBenet Ramsey. Just 6 years old JonBenet Ramsey was discovered battered and bludgeoned to death on Christmas Day 1996 in Boulder, Colorado. JonBenet was reported missing by her mother, Patsy, who told police she had found a ransom note. During a search of the house, Father John found her lifeless body in the basement. She had been strangled and hit on the head. Her parents and brother Burke were cleared of any involvement in her death, and police have yet to pin the murder on anyone despite an extensive investigation. 5. Good Samaritan killed for kindness. Trisha McCauley murdered for being a good Samaritan. When actress Trisha McCauley drove to her friends on Christmas Day, she decided to help a man who looked like he needed a lift. Trisha was well loved in the community, renowned for her acting talents, her yoga classes, and sharing her homegrown vegetables with her neighbors. She posted on Facebook that she was leaving for her friend's house at 4:30 p.m., but never arrived. And while they contacted her, information showing Trisha had used her cards appeared to show she was still alive. It wasn't until December 27, 2016 that her dead body was found in her car. When officers unlocked the car, they found Trisha's body wedged between the rear and front seats, concealed from view. She'd been sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled to death. Her legs were bound with a seat belt. Dwayne Johnson, 29, had been driving her car around with her corpse inside. After he was arrested, he told investigators that on Christmas Day, Tricia had offered him a lift, and they'd had consensual sex on a curb somewhere. Afterwards, he said the actress had become despondent and talked about killing herself. He claimed the actress had killed herself, but later confessed to her murder. 6. Accused of witchcraft and drowned in a bathtub. Christy Bamu was just 15 when he was found drowned in a bath on Christmas Day. The teenager had been subjected to a campaign of brutal abuse by his sister Magali Bamu and her partner Eric Bikubi. His body was found riddled with 130 injuries after they tortured him because of their belief he was a witch. Christy had come to London from Paris with his 2 brothers and 2 sisters to spend a festive season with Magali at her flat in Newham, London. However, things turned sour when the couple, who were said to be obsessed with witchcraft known as Kindoki in their native Democratic Republic of Congo, accused him of putting spells on a younger child. The couple were found guilty of Christie's murder. 7. Mass murder over presents and debt. When Michelle Anderson and her boyfriend went to visit her parents for Christmas Day, they took handguns instead of gifts. Wayne and Judy had a home in rural Carnation, Washington. It was a house they'd lived in for over 30 years. Wayne, 60, was an engineer at Boeing, and Judy, 61, worked at the local post office. They were devoted to their family and the community. Their daughter Michelle, 29, lived in a caravan on the grounds of the family home with her boyfriend Joseph McEnroe, also 29. Then on Christmas Eve, in 2007, Wayne and Judy had invited them over for the family meal. Their son Scott, 32, his wife Erica, 32, and their children, Olivia, 5, and Nathan, 3, were coming too. Michelle was angry that she was being asked by her parents to pay rent, and that her brother had not repaid money he owed her. Her fury boiled over, and when they arrived at their home at 4 p.m. Michelle and Joseph shot her parents. When her Erica and Scott arrived, the slaughter continued despite Erica's pleas to save the little ones. By Christmas Day, 6 were dead. Their bodies were found on Boxing Day. 8. Plenty of Fish killer murders woman on their first date. Teacher Katie Locke, 23, was murdered when she went on a first date with Carl Langdell. The pair, who met on a dating website called Plenty of Fish, went on a date in London before going back to the 4-star Theobald's Park Hotel in Hertfordshire, where he murdered her. Langdell, a trainee lawyer, strangled Katie and then had sex with her corpse. He then took pictures and wrapped her body in bedsheets and a duvet and dumped it in bushes at the back of the hotel. She was found on Christmas Eve. It was only 9 months before the murder that Langdell had told a community psychiatric nurse that he wanted to cut a girl's throat. Katie was unaware that Langdell had spent time in a psychiatric hospital and was serving a suspended sentence for telling the nurse his sick fantasies. The violent fantasist had described himself as an ordinary decent human on Facebook. He was sentenced to life in prison for the killing, which took place in 2015. 9. Killing of couple goes unsolved for more than 20 years. It took more than 2 decades for the murder of Ed, 81, and 83-year-old Minnie Morin to be solved. The couple's dead bodies were found in Woodland on Christmas Eve 1985 after they had been shot dead. Their surviving children had worked tirelessly to find their killers and finally got justice for their parents in 2012. The couple were reported missing on December 19 and found 5 days later. It transpired they had been kidnapped and driven to a cash point by Rick and his now-dead brother, John Reef, and forced to withdraw $8,500 in cash. They were then forced to drive to a rural road, shot inside their car, and dragged into Woodland. It is believed many witnesses remained quiet after seeing the brothers for fear of retribution from the pair, who were known drug dealers. Several witnesses picked them out of a lineup years after the murders, having seen them driving the Morin's car. The Rith brothers did not know the elderly couple but targeted them because they were wealthy. 2 of the couple's surviving children got to see the killers of their parents brought to justice. 10. Stabbing at a working man's club by couple who thought they got away with it. Brian Cahill and Lindsay Harper snuck out of Cramlington Working Men's Club after killing 19-year-old Owen Carey. Owen had only gone out for a game of pool and a couple of pints with his friend when he was knifed by Cahill on Christmas Eve. The sly killer stabbed him so quickly no one even saw it happen. Then he and his partner in crime screamed away as Owen collapsed, fatally injured. Harper had earlier tried to hit Owen in the back of the head with a glass but failed. The pair, who reportedly danced a jig, thinking they had got away with it, were jailed for the murder. 11. Drug addict murdered his pregnant partner. James Hutchinson was branded wicked after he killed his pregnant partner while high on drugs. The drug addict carried out a frenzied attack on mother of two Nicola Woodman in her home on Christmas Day, December 25, 2016, with knives and an axe. When her body was discovered, she had suffered 102 injuries. Nicola, an NHS worker, was subjected to an hour of abuse in her Bradford home where she was murdered. It was claimed Hutchinson, who was in a state of delusion, had mistakenly thought Nicola was cheating on him. She was pregnant with his child at the time. 12. 7 killed by shooter in a Santa suit. In 2011, Aziz Yazdin Pana is believed to have killed 7 members of his own family while dressed in a Santa suit. He targeted his family, which included his children and his wife, just after they had opened their presents, and then turned the gun on himself. Just hours earlier, the family had held a Christmas Eve party at their ranch. They were gunned down in an apartment in Grapevine in Dallas. It is believed Yazdin Pana turned up at the apartment in the morning because he hadn't been invited to the party after separating from his wife in March of that year. He murdered his wife Nasrin Ramadi, 55, and his 2 children with his wife Nana Yazdin Pana, 19, and Ali, 15. Before turning the gun on himself, he killed the family of his sister-in-law. He gunned down Zora Ramadi, 58, and her husband, Hossein Zoreh, 59. He also shot their 22-year-old daughter Sarah Zoreh. And this pretty much sums up the craze that comes with the Christmas festivities. As usual, share your thoughts in the comments section down below. And if you like the way I presented these cases, remember to like this video, share and subscribe if you haven't. See you next time.